All right, everyone. So we're going to go over the trades from this morning. I'm pleasantly surprised that we had some nice momentum today. I wasn't sure, after yesterday. Yesterday, obviously being a red day, my first red day since June. And yesterday, I had a little bit of a hard time, being optimistic because I was disappointed that I had that red day and I overtraded. And well, you watched the recap. I'm sure you watched the recap. It wasn't a great day for me. At the same time, I said to myself, rather than being, glum and disappointed about the loss, maybe I should focus on celebrating what has been a really terrific hot streak. And today is a red day, but red days happen. And the kind of exciting part is that now I can get myself in the zone of getting back on the horse and beginning to rebuild. There's always sort of some excitement, after you have the loss and it's kind of said and done, when you sit back down at your trading station, and it's like, okay, now I've got some ground to make up. It's like, time to get straight to business and make a little bit of profit. So what I ended up doing was I got out my whiteboard right here and I took some notes for myself. So this is what I wrote. This helped me this morning. So I wrote, go slow, $1,000 cushion, right? 5,000 shares, 20 cents until Momo returns. And that's on an intraday basis. Batten down the hatches, right? Now I kind of like this, analogy of having to really hunker down and wait until things get better. And, the thing with like hunkering down through a storm is like, obviously your priority shifts. You're not going to get as much done during the period of there's a big storm passing through. I'm thinking of people that are, doing like outdoor, adventure seeking type of things. But it's like the new order business is like survival. And there's something kind of, exciting about that as well. So right now it's just about survival. And it's okay that I'm not, making any gains because this is sort of the new focus. So batten down the hatches till things get better. And then I just kind of remind myself, that's my equity curve for the last 90 days, and I'm right here. Yes, it's a little bit of a dip, but it's tolerable. And then the second thing I said was stop at 9:30 a.m. And the reason was because yesterday I had a great day, and then at 9:30 a.m. my whole day fell apart. I said cap at 5,000 shares, which again is just a reminder that 5K cap until I'm up over 1,000. Focus on small green days. And reminding myself that I didn't have any meaningful gains past 9:30. And then I did this sort of blue line, which you might not think carries a lot of meaning, but it carries a lot of meaning. So this is what I was thinking. If you watch my recap yesterday, I said that in a way, I almost don't think in a sense, it's almost possible, to never have green days if you trade momentum the way I trade momentum, and you're taking at least 15 to 20 trades a day and maintaining accuracy of 65%, 70%. Because the reason is, let's say you got, so let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's just say 10. So every day you've got 10 trades. So it may be, your misfortune, like it was for me yesterday, that you start with the first trade as a loser and the second trade's a loser too. But as long as you haven't hit your max loss, statistically, if you're still going to take 8 more trades and your accuracy remains what it's been historically, then you should see out of this, approximately 6 winners. Maybe you'll have 1 more loser in here, but you should see 6 to 7 more winners. And then at the end of the day, you should be green. Now, the only thing that's going to throw this off is if for some reason there's something happening in the overall market that reduces the number of opportunities that are available to you. And that's kind of what happened to me yesterday. I tried and tried and tried, and I just ran out of opportunities. And I said to myself, realistically, my next best chance for a good trade is probably going to be tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. But then I actually thought, there is a chance that we could have some news after hours. So I actually was still here because I had done my recap. So I was watching after hours to see if we would have any breaking news. And we did have some breaking news. We had ASNS that had breaking news after hours. This one popped up. We had, let's see, RYDE squeezed into the close and popped up a little after hours. And then there were a couple others that did. But of course, my luck, I ended up taking a trade on SUGP after hours, which pops up here to 180 and then immediately reverses. And so I ended up starting the day and ending the day on losing trades yesterday. And I just ended up digging the hole deeper. And I was like, you know what? This is just stupid. So I'm just going to walk away. So finally I gave up and walked away. And then I said, all right, well, so my time here started, kind of ended at like 4:30 p.m. I was like, all right, I'm out of time today. So I'm not going to recover today. But what I know is that big picture, as long as I'm able to stay calm, cool, and collected, it is only a matter of time before I make my recovery. So, yesterday was from here to here. And it just turned out that 4:30 p.m., came and went and kind of ran out of opportunities. So I had to kind of pause overnight and then come back and start again this morning. I came back, I started again this morning, and first trade's right out of the gates, winner, green, $1,000. Second trade, green, $1,000, now I'm up 2,000 on the day. Third trade, green, $1,000, I'm up 3,500 on the day. Got myself up to 3,500, then had a loss, then another winner, then I had another small loss. Things got a little bit choppy. Then we had another stock that started to pop up, and next thing you know, I'm up $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. Came up to just shy of $10,000 on the day, and then stopped. Now, actually, my last trade was a loser. I gave back $100 off the top. No big deal. So that's where I'm finishing right now here today. And again, at this point, it's 12:15. I'm not out of time. I could continue to trade through the day, but what I kind of know from my experience yesterday, and generally speaking, is that I'm more profitable in the morning. And the reason that is because in the morning, we have stocks that are responding to breaking news headlines that came out overnight. So we have breaking news that comes out the next morning. That's when we're getting the response, or we're getting the breaking news that comes out first thing pre-market, which happens as well. So I sat down this morning, and so you can see my P&L right here. This is where I sit for the day, $9,903.44. So nice, solid green day. Can be feeling pretty good about that. And the first trade of the day, I sat down, and as always, I pulled up the scans on my phone. So pulled up the scans on my phone, and at about 6:30, I was disappointed. I was like, yikes, I'm not seeing a lot that I'm liking here. BKYI, I can't remember if this was on the scan now. I guess no, it wasn't. That one popped up at 825. We had a couple lower price stocks on the scan. Nothing was up more than like 40 or 50%. So I was sort of already a little bit like, oh boy, I'm going to be in for a slow day today. But I had a bit of excitement because I was like, today is day one of rebuilding with discipline and staying calm, cool, and collected. And I also, something that I often do, wrong camera, is sometimes I'll take notes, or I'll just kind of go for a walk. So yesterday, after I finished trading at like 4:30, I walked down in my garden where I've got my tomato plants and picked some tomatoes. And anyways, and I took some kind of notes on my phone. This is something I used to do a lot back in 2012, 2013. I remember going for drives. I lived, it's a bit of a drive from town, so I was driving quite a bit. And I would sometimes record like a voice memo, just be like, man, today was such a tough day. And I found that talking out my day was really helpful, kind of like therapeutic, just like talk out what I did right, what I did wrong. So I kind of took some notes on yesterday, and I was like, started the day nicely red, thanks to getting tricked a little bit by some level 2 action, big bids. The bids got pulled. Today would have been the 48th consecutive green day, but, I hadn't been counting, but, counted once I checked. And then, kind of took notes about how frustrated I was to recover from minus 5,000 all the way up to 10,000, or $10,000 of profit of 5,000 on the day, and then go back down. And what I said was, my biggest risk for tomorrow is whether or not I will have the strength to maintain the discipline necessary not to gamble, and therefore have a second huge red day. It would happen if I try to make back all of yesterday's loss in one trade. If I can accept that I will not make back today's loss this week, or perhaps it'll take 4 days, averaging, a couple $1,000s a day, then my only job tomorrow is to see if I can make $2,000 and do it while maintaining presence of mind of the condition of the overall market and focusing on high accuracy. Success tomorrow is discipline. So that was kind of my meditation yesterday. And so when I came in this morning, initially I was a little disappointed not to see much on the scan that looked good. But then SMX, right at 7 a.m., all of a sudden pops up. And when it started popping up, initially I assumed that it had news because it just went up basically like 100% really quickly. But in fact, I wasn't able to find news on it, and I don't know that anyone was. So kind of, it's always a little odd when that happens. But in any case, this squeezes up right here. And so this at that moment perfectly met the profile of the type of stock I'd like to trade. Based on the float, less than 1 million shares, that's fine. Based on the price, between 2 and 20, and it's on the lower end of that, which is fine. Based on the fact that it was squeezing up already 20, 30% by the time it popped up, which made it the second leading gapper on the day. And so my first trade on this, it squeezes up right here. That might have been a nice entry, but I missed that. It pops up right here, and I bought that pullback right there. So I got in right there. I got in with 2,500 shares at 416, and then I added at 420. It goes up here to 440, 450 right here, just over 450. So I took my profit out. That gave me 20 cents a share, 5,000 shares. I'm up $1,000. It pulls back. I bought this dip right here again. No, so at this point, I said, there you go, buddy. You just got your first $1,000. You can increase your share size. So on that second trade, I did take 5,000 shares again. And that was getting in at 455 right here, and then took profit on the squeeze up to 5. Then we hit a high of about 515, as you can see right there. And so it dips down, and I end up buying this dip right down here at 525. So let's see, where was it? So we go up here, we pull back. Was it right here? I think it was right here. As we came back up, I guess it was a double top breakout. Bought that breakout right there. We got the squeeze up to 540, so made a little bit of profit on that. It dips down, and I got a couple of dip trades through this area. We ended up pulling back and then coming back up and sort of peaking right here. And I gave back maybe $100 off the top. I know I was up over 5,000 on it at one point, so up 4,951 on it, but overall did pretty well. Now through this area, it starts consolidating. So now we'll switch to the 1 minute time frame. So on the 1 minute chart, we get that first surge up, and really the only entry on it was micro pullbacks. So those of you guys who know my micro pullback strategy, because you watch me trade it in the chat room, or you've attended my Warrior Pro classes and you see me teach it, micro pullback right there, micro pullback right around 420, which was like in here. And then we got that surge up to 540, pulls back, and then pushes higher. Then it dips down. Right here, the MACD crosses over, and I was like, okay, it's time to wait. So I said, I'm going to wait. Now, I noticed right in this area, ascending support. I connected the low here with the low here. And so I said, all right, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. And I noticed another student at Warrior Trading said, I'm going to buy this dip down here. And I looked at that and I thought, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was wondering partially if this was just a bear flag, a sell-off and a bear flag, but it does seem to be holding up. MACD is kind of curling. This could be interesting. So I looked at the level 2 and I saw that there were some big buyers down here around 460. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take that trade. So I got in at about 472, added at 482, and added at 492. Gave me an average of 82, 7,500 shares. Actually, that might have been 10,000. And then I took profit up here as we got up to about 520. So that was nice. After that, it dipped back down below VWAP, was sort of struggling in this area. So I didn't take any more trades on it. Got below this ascending support line. And then I was like, nah, unfortunately, it's done. So, and now it's come back down quite a bit. So anyways, there was some nice volatility there early, but that was really sort of your window. It was sort of in this area here. So that's fine. That was our opportunity. So took some trades on SMX. Then we had BLMZ hit the scans, and BLMZ, it hit the scans yesterday as well. It's a continuation setup. Has strong day on Friday, pushes up again on Monday, and now here on Tuesday, pushing higher. So I did take this trade for the break of 3, but I managed to get in, get stopped out, and then it ripped, which was kind of obnoxious, but nonetheless, lost 500 on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to overstay my welcome. And I kind of said, I'm going to start each stock I trade. I'm going to kind of reset at starting with 5,000 shares. And if I can get a cushion on that stock, I'll size up. But if, I don't want to go, because now I'm like, well, I could take 20,000 shares of this. But I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just build my cushion on that stock first. And then if I feel comfortable with that stock, then size up, which is not something I typically do, but I thought about today. So anyway, so wasn't able to get a cushion on BLZM. Then got a couple more trades on SMX, and then let's see. Then BKYI comes up. So BKYI ends up coming out with news this morning. It pops up initially here. It dips down as it curls back up. I got in for that curl back higher. And, I'm really kind of impressed that this was as clean as it was. So on this one, however, it's a cheaper stock. So my starter on it was 10,000 shares. So I bought 10,000 shares right around 55 here to anticipate the breakthrough 60. It goes to 60, 65, 70. I'm adding into that move. We got a high of 190. I take some profit. So that was a couple $1,000. It pulls back here. I add back. And on this one, I actually did take 20,000 shares, squeezes through 2, goes up to 210. And I'm up $4,257 on it. It's like, wow, that was awesome. So going into the open, it ends up pushing higher. And I was watching this, but I also said, be careful at the open. You don't want to overstay your welcome. And this did end up being, it ended up moving. But anyways, I just kind of didn't feel like taking the risk on it. So, and then let's see, I had a trade on ZAPP that hit the scanners this morning. That one didn't hold, but was able to get in and get out quickly. And then WHLR, got a trade on that one. Had a couple nice moves, got in, got out fairly quickly on that. Didn't make much money on it. But, in total, this ended up being a better day than I expected. Now, one of the things I was telling myself last night was, in regards to trader rehab, some of you guys are familiar with this program that we have. So one of the things that, of course, I learned pretty early on was that trading can be very emotional. And so at Warrior Trading, we have a trading psychology program. We've got, of course, day trading the basics and day trading strategies and scaling. Starter includes access to the basics. And Warrior Pro gives you access to both of those classes, plus all of these classes below. And Trader Rehab is a class I have taught with Ted. Ted runs the trading psychology program here at Warrior Trading. And Trader Rehab is specifically designed for traders like myself, because I created it because I needed it, who need sort of an acute intervention to stop really destructive trading behavior, where you're just spiraling. It's like red day after red day after red day. You're getting more and more emotionally fueled. You're getting so angry. Every time you finish trading, you're ready to break your keyboard, throw it out the window. You're just like, that's where you're at emotionally. And for traders that are in that place, the first order of business is to stop the bleeding. You have to stop the bleeding. And there's two ways to do that. Number one is to stop trading real money and to switch to the sim. And the other is to discipline yourself to size down. Now, discipline is very hard. It's very hard to hold yourself accountable and say, I'm not going to trade with more than X number of shares, until I've done this or proven this for 5 days, whatever it is. It's incredibly hard for traders to restrain themselves in that way. But it's an important exercise, because one of the things I've said about discipline is that it is a muscle. It's not a skill like learning to tie your shoes that you have it forever. It's a muscle that will strengthen the more you exercise it, but will also weaken the more you ignore it. So the first order of business is to stop the bleeding. Now, after yesterday, I knew I needed to be very careful, because it's very common after one big red day that you'll come in the next day and you're trying to make it all back in one trade. You'll take obscene risk. It goes wrong. And next thing you know, you have 2 huge red days in a row. Your max loss, below max loss in an instant. And it's just like, that's it. So knowing that was a risk, someone said, Ross, are you going to put yourself into trader rehab for tomorrow? And I was like, well, so hold on just 1 second on that. I am red today, and I am below my max loss, but also let's kind of put it in context. What happened? And I was like, I did go red on my first two trades, and then I recovered and made $10,000 on SINT, which was fantastic. And it was absolutely the right move for me to be trading aggressively, and I did really well. And then in two trades, I gave it all back. Okay, so I overstayed my welcome, caught a couple big losses, and then after that, I had that couple final trades that set me even further red because I started to spiral. So I was like, yeah, clearly I made some mistakes there. And so coming into tomorrow, or which is now today, I need to be very mindful about not letting myself spiral. But do I go all the way to checking myself into trader rehab, which is to apply some of the most restrictive guardrails where I say I'm not allowed to take more than one trade and I'm capped at 5,000 shares for that one trade. And the goal of that is to try to have one green day, just to like break the, kind of break the red streak and just have like one nice green day. And I felt like I don't think I'm at a place where I need to do that. I think it's very possible that we could have another stock like SINT today. And we did. We had two stocks just like it. And if those are strong, there's no reason I shouldn't try to capitalize on it. But what I do need to remember is to not take more than 5,000 shares on that first trade and to focus on waiting for a good quality setup on a stock that perfectly meets my profile. So yesterday I broke the ice on Riley, which was a stock with a slightly higher float. And then the next one I lost on also had, I can't remember what it was, if it was price or float, but something also on that one wasn't quite right. So I said, if you start the day by focusing on stocks that are really within your wheelhouse, I think what you really need to do is sort of go back to basics in a sense, just to kind of like get a little bit more reined in. Not all the way to trader rehab, but with some guardrails. And then if you can build your cushion, open up, see what you can do. Now, if I'd had 2, 3, 4 consecutive red days, then you get to a point where you just need to break the streak. You just need a green day. And if that means just taking one trade, getting green and shutting down, then you come back the next day and you're like, okay, at least I broke the red streak and I'm green now. But that's not where I was at. Today, though, the stakes were pretty high to make sure I didn't have day 2 of a capitulating spiral. Because when you go into day 2 or day 3 or day 4, and I once had, I think it was 6 consecutive red days, you get really emotionally bent out of shape. You're like, what am I doing? Do I even know how to trade anymore? Having a red week, it happens. Having a red month, it happens. I tend to figure I'll have one red month a year. And many years I've had 2 red months. This year, it's possible that'll happen. I had a couple close calls earlier in the year, and these last few months have been really good. But who knows? I could have a red month at some point. And look, if it happens, most likely it's because I took a trade that was just one terrible loss, and then it threw me off my game. I wasn't able to rebound and kind of get centered. So I just kept reminding myself that right now, the key to my success is 100% discipline. The losses yesterday were not a fault of my strategy. They were a fault of my stubbornness. I got stubborn. I didn't want to cut my losses quickly enough. They got bigger. And then I didn't want to close the day red. So I kept trading and it capitulated. And look, I'm human. And these are the emotions that we feel when we trade. And we do the best we can to not act on them. But then there are times where it just creeps up on you. Next thing you know, you've crossed that point of no return. And now you're trading from a position of being emotionally compromised. And so that's what ended up, happening yesterday. But today I was able to keep myself really in check, really focused, and yeah. So now, red yesterday in net, green today in net, and now we've got, of course, tomorrow, and then we've got a Thursday, right? And then we've got Friday. So we still have, and who knows how many trades I'll take each day. I might end up taking 50 trades tomorrow, or I might end up taking just 10 trades on, Thursday. I don't know. It'll be depending on the quality of the market, but knowing that I'm right here and that within the next 10 days, most likely there's going to be 100 more trades for me to take with 65 to 75% accuracy, which is only achievable if I stay focused on trading stocks that meet my profile of the 5 criteria for stock selection and that really look clean. But I can do this. I know I can. And if I can maintain the 2-to-1 profit loss ratio that I've been maintaining for the last 2 months, which is going to be the result of this sort of new risk management technique that I've been using, which I talked about in yesterday's class, then it's really only a matter of time before, my account's of course back, well, to all-time highs, and I'm, really feeling like another sort of boost of confidence, and I'm, in the middle of another hot streak. If every day had, I could take 10, or if every day I could take 100 trades, then it is quite possible that I wouldn't have red days, because there would always be enough time to recover. But realistically, the way I trade, I don't see 100 trades in a day very often. That's pretty rare. And of course, those would be just days where the market's really hot. And what we also know is that there are days where the market is really cold. And when the market is cold, try as hard as you want. You're just not going to find dozens and dozens of good opportunities. And if you try to trade that aggressively, what most likely is going to happen is you're going to start digging yourself a hole. Because, like, let's just, for example, say, look at this stock QMMM. All right, so this just hit the scanners. So QMMM. So if I pull this up right now, hit the scanner, if I buy that right now at 664, I'm already down 22 cents on the spread. So I could buy here, sell there, and I'm instantly down 22 cents. With 1,000 shares, it's 220 bucks, right? 10,000 shares is $2,000. And if you tried to buy 10,000 shares of the stock, you would probably get 5 cents of slippage getting in. I don't even see 10,000 shares here. So you get some slippage getting in, and then you get some slippage getting back out. So that 20 cents, but you add 5 cents on the, buy side, 5 cents on the sell side, it's 30 cents. You're losing 30 cents basically just buying and selling because of slippage and the spread. So who wins on that, of course, is the market maker. So this is a stock where there just isn't the liquidity to trade. And there are some days where there's not a lot of liquidity or volume in the market. And so try as you might, there's nothing to trade. Today, if we look at the volume, we've got 156 million shares on QH. This one's a little bit lower price, so I didn't break the ice on it, but nice moves on that one. 123 million shares of volume on BKYI. Now there weren't, there were only so many good quality setups. It went higher, but if you're particular about your setups, even a stock like this, how many good setups were there today? There are a couple of good setups in this area. There were probably a couple in this area. Maybe break a VWAP and the squeeze up here. Maybe a little dip here, but that didn't work out super well. Another dip down here. Maybe a dip off that ascending support. So, maybe like 10, 15 trades if you really got dialed in on this one. I'm sure there's people that traded it more than that, but if you're looking for really good quality trades, SMX, I got whatever it was, 5, 6, 7 trades on this one, but it ended up, pulling back. WHLR, this one, I saw some people trading it pretty actively, popping up. So there were more opportunities on that one. But yeah, I guess we'll see in total how many trades I ended up taking today. I don't recall. And I could check to see how many trades I took yesterday. I don't know if I've imported them yet. Let's see. I've got to add this tag to it. So yesterday, I took a lot of trades, but what I suffered from yesterday, without a doubt, was both lower accuracy, I suspect, but certainly an inverted profit loss ratio, because I had, 3 or 4 kind of big losing trades. And that unfortunately that's not good for the profit loss ratio. So, whatever, that happens. But looks like yesterday I took a total of 51 trades. I took 45 on Friday, 43 on Thursday, 27 the day before. So yeah, could have been better. But of course could have been worse as well. So anyways, yeah, so my I guess words of wisdom for you if you're struggling a little bit is to focus on discipline, and that I really think it's going to be discipline that helps you in your recovery. So as always, if you want to join our community and trade side by side with me, you can check out a 2-week trial. There'll be a link pinned at the top of the comments. You can learn more about my strategy. You can take some of my classes as part of that trial, and you can use the software right here while you're a member in the community. So looking forward to seeing you guys. I'll remind you as always, trading is risky. Easy come, easy go. So manage your risk, take it slow, and always practice in the simulator before you put real money on the line.